Recently, one of the best traders in the world, who participated in one of the tournaments that are held annually in the sector, revealed a very simple strategy with which he had managed to go from $10,000 to $500,000 in just 1 year, that is to say in 12 months. Over time, we know that there are indeed very simple strategies that only require a minimum positioning depending on what happens in the macroeconomy, but this is very different. It is a combination of indicators that give us exact entry points in very low time frames, such as 1 minute. In today's video, we will explain step by step how to use it and that you get to improve your trading. Welcome to the Trader's Game. And before we start, remember that in the description you have the links to join us in our Telegram community, where every day we post charts and analysis of what is happening in the financial markets. And also the trading bonus page, which has been updated and have added new promotions and free bonuses for all those who are starting in the world of trading. Do not forget to leave your email if you want to receive a weekly newsletter with everything that has happened during those days. The first thing we are going to do is to place ourselves, as I said, in 1 minute temporality. It is also a strategy that we can apply in 5, in 15, even in 30, but we have detected that in 1 minute it is especially effective, especially in highly liquid assets. We are talking, for example, of cryptocurrencies, forex, or traditional markets, e-stocks. First, we go to the indicators section and look for the RSI Cross, which comes out directly as an indicator that provides us with trading view. We go to the part of configuration, and here in the short MA we will put 50, and in the long MA we will put 200. Be very attentive that this box remains checked, since we will always have to wait those closings of the time intervals for it to be effective. In the part of style, I personally will put the shortest stocking in yellow, but I will increase a little the thickness, and the longest I will place it in a more striking color, for example pink. In the third section, we will have to decide the form and the color that we want to give to these signs when the stockings cross. I am going to put it in circles and of white color so that it makes me that effective contrast with the darker bottom. But good, you already know that you can place it each one to your style. Already directly you can see how these signals of crossing of both averages work. In this case here the crossing is downwards, so we would simply place a short operation whose stop loss is at the previous lows, and the take profit in the ratio 1.5 to 1. As you see, we would already go out in profit. A little later we would have exactly the same, but looking for a long, since the crossing is upwards, so again we would place our stop loss below those previous lows and we would look for the ratio 1.5 to 1. As you can see, we would take advantage of the whole trend even being in 1 minute time frame, which is always more complicated to hit these operations because there is a lot of noise and volatility in the market. But of course we will not operate only with this, but we have to add 2 other indicators that will help us when generating a higher win rate close to 90% in the long term. The first of them will be the RSI Cross with alert, which obviously will be a fairly common RSI but that we will modify in our own way. In the part of data entries we will lower the MA1 from 34 to 30, and in the second we will raise it from 68 to 77. In the part of style, as always, and more to your taste, but very important that you mark here the opacity of both waves of movement, and I personally in the upper and lower levels I will give a little more thickness, and I will also put them in the colors that always indicate us that change of trend. That is to say, the red line at the top that indicates that the price is reaching an overbought area and therefore we should look for a short and sell, and at the bottom the green line that would mark the oversold area waiting for the price to make a change of trend, this time upward. So I put red at the top and green at the bottom. And you can see how adding this second indicator we will have more security when making our entries, as it provides us with a second confirmation, very key in this type of strategies in such low temporalities. When we detect that cross, in this case downwards, we place our operation in short, the stop loss above those previous highs, and we look for the take profit with the ratio 1.5 to 1. After a few minutes we have already taken profits. A little later we see that the same thing happens, but in this case looking for a long, we see that when the signal occurs we have the RSI in green, unlike what happened in the previous operation that we had it in red, perfect for looking for a short. Well, in this case having already the double confirmation of the crossing point, and in this case the RSI green, since we are looking for a long we place our stop loss below those previous lows and take our profits in the ratio 1.5 that we mentioned. We could even charge only a part of that operation and seek with the rest of it a higher profit by letting it run, but be careful because we are in very low temporalities and the price can move very fast. For that we can look at the behavior of the RSI, because if the price begins to enter overbought or oversold area is a good sign to start taking profits from our operation, as the price could turn around and change the trend. If you look at it as a strategy that works very well practically all the time, yes, we will have some loss, as for example this one here, but that we can also avoid it by adding one more indicator, or even just taking into account the basic knowledge of the trading world. That is, we can clearly see here a resistance zone where the price, every time it comes back down, And at the bottom also a support zone where the price every time it arrives begins to change the trend and goes up again. I think we all see that very clearly, and we can take advantage of this basic knowledge for when we detect that the price begins to lateralize or form a range. At the time that we mark that signal and match our rules, we must take into account these areas that we have marked and always seek operations to the opposite area. For example, in this case we have here, where as you can see the price returns to retest the bottom of the support after it bounced off the resistance. To help us with this, we can even add the supply and demand visible range of the great creator Lux Algo, because as you can see it gives us the exact data of the range that appears on our screens. It is an indicator that we have to be careful when using it, because it does indeed seem to mark it very well, but it only works with what we have on our screens, that is, it does not mark it in a fixed way. I advise you to also mark for yourselves those areas that delimit the range when it is just in the area of the screen you are viewing. So in the case of moving the cursor, as you see the indicator moves according to what comes into my screen, and you can take advantage of the two information. That is to say, we already know that in this smaller range the resistance zone is this one here and the support zone is this one here. Nevertheless, in the case that we see the range in a bigger way, that the price goes out by some of the sides, we also know that in this superior zone we return to have that resistance zone, and in this inferior part the support zone. By having them already marked, we can hide the indicator without any problem, and now we will use that information to take our operations. Here, for example, what has happened? That despite having a clear positive signal in the first place, we have the RSI in a very high area where it is almost reaching that overbought area, which is already a first alarm signal, but also the price has just touched the resistance, so we will decide not to take that operation. But of course, if we expand the chart to have the full view of the entire range, not only that part, we can see that although this operation seemed quite bad at first, when observing the macro in this way, placing the stop loss where we commented below those previous lows and looking in this case that upper part of the larger range, we see that both this operation and the one that we could also open in this area both would come out in positive. The truth is that the set of these indicators makes this strategy as incredible and help you to operate on a daily basis. As I always say, try it and let us know in the comments section what you think and if you are already making a profit. It is undoubtedly one of the most profitable strategies when scalping or day trading, as it will provide us with a win rate above 90% and above all gives us a lot of information that we can add to our operation. Thank you very much for watching us. Do not forget to go through the links in the description, where you have as always the free community of Telegram and the official page of Trading Bonus, where you can get all the best promotions that are currently in brokers or exchanges in the world. Thank you very much and see you in the next video of the Trader's Game.